up the road. That's why people get into trouble.
Oh man. Until Dawn may have made a valiant effort to justify its existence, a movie tie-in to a decade-old video game that nobody really wanted and barely even relates. But when fans initially criticized the premise that's really only Until Dawn in name, things didn't exactly look too good. I was willing to give it a fair shot, look at it for what it is. But the issue here is not really the movie justifying itself, I mean, it hardly does. It's more so this below-average movie justifying itself. Not very interesting characters, stuff that goes nowhere, most notably a lack of dread given their predicament, and you really start to question why there is an Until Dawn movie. Clover, our lead with a, I guess, sad past, and her friends, who honestly don't bear mentioning that much, are headed to Remote Valley to find her missing sister, Melanie. They kinda had a falling out.
Shocking.
And after Peter Stormare, who reprised his role from the game as Dr. Hill, tells her bad things will happen if you go to that location, they decide to go to that location.
Positively shocking.
They ignore the obvious signs, such as the big heavy storm ending as soon as they drive in. By that I mean, they can literally still see it. The water doesn't run, the house is full of missing posters, plenty of reasons to not be there, but when the car drives away by itself, it's about too late for common sense. Soon enough, the guy Rami Malek played in the game shows up and starts killing them in satisfyingly violent ways, but upon coming back to life, the night resetting, and again just plain not being that disturbed, they gotta find out what's going on, solve the mysteries within, and most notably, survive until dawn. Obviously, I'm not really going to complain about the lack of common sense. I don't know why Dr. Hill basically spelled out, don't go there. But overall, the biggest deterrent to this movie is, despite having a darker concept, it seems to be more interested in being a half-assed comedy. Thing is, it's not a horror comedy. 2 of 5 characters are kind of comedic, but not really. So when they die one by one in violent, graphic ways, they should be more affected by it. Instead, it's more like, I guess we died again, and you have a rare instance of a horror movie in which you don't fear for their safety. That's not really a good thing. Something like this should be darker, more unsettling, but instead, I really couldn't care less. It doesn't feel that interesting or even that new, and the cast don't do a good job selling it. Clover has a backstory that almost every lead has in a missing sibling tale. Her ex-boyfriend is literally a blank slate. I can't remember anything about him, aside from former boyfriend in which he broke up. The other couple don't offer much either. The male is a dick like in 1 or 2 scenes, then it's forgotten. Guess he changed. The female has to always be with somebody, because she does. And Megan is there. I mean, she's into something, but I don't know what it affects. Kind of think they just needed a 5th person. And stuff like the missing sister, Clover's suicide backstory, honestly feel like afterthoughts. The fact that she attempted that is randomly brought up for no justifiable reason, and nothing about her even hints at that. It is eventually shoehorned in at the end to what can loosely be called a twist. But given how much of the movie simply fails to keep you invested, you do wonder why we even have this. Given it's nothing like the game, it's kinda shameful, and getting into the spoilers, you've been warned, things don't really get any better. There's a gimmick thrown in that every time they die, they become more like the monsters, the Wendigo from the game. This includes hair falling out, growing extra teeth, marks on the back, real disturbing stuff. But again, nobody seems to care that much. At some point, one of them says, how many teeth are you supposed to have? In which the reply is, I don't know, but I think it's an even number. That's not how you'd respond to that. None of it's visible unless somebody points it out. You could literally cut this, and it would affect nothing. I get that it's relevant to the experiment Dr. Hill was doing, but it should affect something. The concept of how people became Wendigo is interesting and does tie into the game, but we barely even see them either. If it isn't obvious yet, playing the game is not necessary to watch this movie, nor is watching this movie. Dr. Hill is not interesting in this, he's a generic psychopathic villain. He really deserved better, and when they deduce if they die again they'll become part of the area and that'll be it. The plot armor kicks in. The big guy who's been stalking them is no issue now, they get the hammer from him and bash his head in as a team. Clover does find her sister, but she's kind of fucked up, so she has to kill her pretty easily. doesn't even shed a tear, and while the others run around not getting killed, she eventually confronts the doctor because some bullshit that the deaths are relevant to her thoughts and she's somehow causing them.
Horseshit!
And since one of those deaths was spontaneous combustion, so it's a drop of water from the ceiling fall into his drink, which caused it. There was a convenient blade right there, don't know why she didn't use it. His back was clearly turned, but instead he explodes, and that's a good thing, because aside from surviving until dawn, somebody must die. Yeah, that's a thing too. Somebody has to die. How convenient.
Horseshit!
This is so disappointing. I really did like Dr. Hill in the game, and the fact that they brought back Peter Stormare, but this is just nothing. It's the same way everybody acts in this scenario. He's doing this because science. He gets mad after realizing he's lost. It's definitely not satisfying. So this really is a case study on how to give us a horror movie finale in which a lot is going on, but you don't really give a shit. It ends up being a happy ending as we knew it would. Nobody dies. I guess the Wendigo symptoms went away. That's not brought up. You'd think they would check. And Clover, who was not the Clover she used to be, is now normal again. They may be back together, they're holding hands, so who knows. But Until Dawn, as many thought it would be, is a below average movie tie-in. It adds very little, doesn't do a lot right. It does provide some nice kills and a few decent moments, but I can't say I was ever really invested. That mainly comes down to not caring because the cast clearly didn't either. I don't know if that was the idea, but you just don't believe they're in a horrific situation. Add on the dull characters and stuff that goes nowhere, and you really are left wondering why they made this. I got a feeling it's not gonna do well, I could be wrong, but to those who spent the last decade anticipating this movie, I don't know why you would anticipate this movie, so let me know what you think in the comments. Remember to like the video, it's highly appreciated, as is subscribing down below, and check out the gaming channel for the same kind of content with games, link in the description. I'm the Analyst, and remember kids, unless you're Freddie Mercury, extra teeth are not good.